Hello and welcome. Welcome. I don't know if you were, I think if you were with me just a minute ago, I had to pause the live or stop the live stream for a moment. Sorry about that, everybody. But we're back. We are back. We're going to start the second half of this live reading here. Thank you very much. And then as soon as we finish with this pull for the collective, I'll be doing individual readings. So if you want an individual reading, you can go ahead and start leaving your questions in the comments, and I will go ahead and scroll through those in a minute. Hello, welcome. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you all. Really, I do. If you are enjoying the live stream, please consider giving me a thumbs up real quick, because it'll really help the algorithm see that this is, useful and helpful for others. So I really appreciate that. Yes, I do. So I hope everyone's doing well. So here we go. We already had our reading from the Divine Masters, which was very on point. So this is from the same author, Kyle Gray, and this is the Gateway of Light activation. So if you have any questions that you don't want to ask publicly, you can go ahead and ask in your mind right now. No, I am not. And you can ask right now, and the questions will come through for you, and we will get the collective reading started. The first card we have, Star Being Healing Codes, important information, wounds healed, and recharging. This live stream is about readings for the collective. So if you have questions, it's kind of like a tarot reading, but they're called oracle cards. So this is the Star Being Light Codes. Important information is coming down. So we're talking about Mercury going into retrograde in 2 days. So expect a lot of different technological things to get messed up because of the energy coming off of Mercury. So that can also bring in important information and leading to wounds being healed. So if you were here in the previous live stream, we were just talking about how we use this period of time to heal ourselves. So this might seem like a time of chaos or a time of being crushed by the weight of things on you. And I told people to think of it like a spring. When you're being held down and pressed and compressed further and further, it might feel like you're really low and things are going really bad, but when you release that spring, you're going to shoot off, and a lot of new growth is going to be coming for you in the next very near future. So again, recharging, important information, and wounds being healed. That's the first card from the reading for the collective. The next card we'll be pulling from, and you're very welcome. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I hope everyone is doing well, sending blessings your way. We ask Archangel Michael to be here for these readings and to help transmit this message to the people who need to see it the most right now. Thank you so much. Akashic Stargate, alignment with purpose. You are at a crossroads, no wrong path. The Akashic Stargate. So if you're not familiar with the Akashic Records, it is a record of everything that has been and everything that will be. It is in a dimension beyond the physical. You can access it through meditation. You can access it through channel messages. You can access it through people like me who read the Akashic Records. I'm not super proficient at reading it myself yet, but I've done a little bit of dabbling in it. But there are other people who are, that's their main thing, is reading the Akashic Records. With the Akashic Stargate, you are aligned with purpose. You are at a crossroads and there's no wrong path. So you might be sitting there thinking, oh boy, do I do this? Do I do that? Well, right now the universe is saying either of those things is going to do what you need to do in the long run. So always remember, though, even if things aren't going the way that you're envisioning them right now, it might not be on your timing, but consider that it might be on the divine's timing. And by that I mean, before we incarnated here in these bodies, you had a hand to play in what was going to happen in this life. You chose a lot of the things that were coming before you now. I'm not saying you chose everything, but we chose a lot of things that were going to occur in this life because they were lessons that we wanted to learn before we got here. So this is a time where we're at one of those paths right now. It might seem like an this way or that way thing, but if you're able to zoom out and go to the God's eye perspective, those two diverging paths that look very separate and different, they might actually just be one path forward that leads to the same spot, just through two different ways. You might be taking the scenic route along a river, or you could be taking the high road up a mountain that goes down the other side, but then you end up at the same village on the other side. It's not for us to know yet. We will discover that when we reach that point. But this whole point of incarnating here is it's a journey. There is no destination. The destination is the journey. So keep that in mind if you're feeling a little bit down on yourself, or like things are a little hard right now, because you're not alone. It's rough out there right now. Can you do a reading for me? Yes, I will do a reading for you, definitely. I haven't even asked the question yet, and you answered. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. The kind words mean a lot to me. I really, really, really appreciate that. So yeah, I'll be doing individual readings here in a moment. Again, they are free. I'm not charging anyone anything. I just ask that if you're finding this useful and helpful, that you could like the video so that I can reach more people. But other than that, like I said, it's free. I'm not charging anything. So the more people that want readings, the better. I just enjoy doing this and helping people. So we're going to do 2 more cards for the collective, and then I'll do individual readings. Can you do a reading for me? I'm a Gemini. Yes, I can do a reading for you. That's funny. My girlfriend's a Gemini as well. The Venusian Galactic Council, Star Being Guides, answer the call. It is your time to shine. Thank you so much. I appreciate that so much. Seriously, really means a lot to me, and it really does help. So the Venusian Galactic Council. These are the light beings I was just talking about. So the way I see it, there's some people that do call them, like I said, the Venusian Galactic Council. I just see them as light beings. I don't necessarily see them as from Venus, like some people have talked about, or even Kyle Gray talks about. This card has come to me, though, when I get different types of light beings that are showing up. So Star Being Guide. So if you are a star seed, you could think of like the Lemurians or the Andromedans or the Pleiadians, the Atlanteans, all of those people. Those are all different star beings, and there's many more. I am a Scorpio, by the way. Scorpio and an Earth snake in the Chinese zodiac. So then but the council here, I've had visions of these beings. Usually see 7 of them. It could be more or less. My life path number 7, so I've always wondered if it's well, that's awesome. That's awesome. Love Scorpios. Love everybody. But hello, my fellow Scorpio. When these beings have appeared, I get downloads. It's not always this crisp, clear message that says, like, go to the bank right now and do this, or invest in this stock, or sell that, or do this. Like, I'm not getting messages like that. It's more metaphorical or symbolic that leads me to explore new things. Or I get lots of visions of like when I had a Kundalini awakening, I saw, which is very interesting because I had never looked up Kundalini awakenings. I knew nothing about Kundalini awakenings. I was just meditating one day and I had this intense feeling in my spine. It came from the bottom of my spine and it just shot up like someone had punched through my entire spine. It felt electric, like I was getting electrocuted, and I was like, it was so intense. My body was like contracting almost, and I felt it go up all of my chakras into my head, then came out the top and it like exploded. And it was just so, I was just like, what the fuck just happened? I had no idea what happened. And so I get out of the tub and I'm looking at, a lot happened in the meditation. The part that was the craziest was, as that's happening, my eyes are closed. I see this woman and she's in all purple and gold, like a flowing dress, loose, like linen clothing, scarfy material, like loose and flowing, and she's like dancing, and she keeps dancing and spinning and spinning and spinning, and she's in this elaborate dance, and in the vision I could just see her above me, like she was like standing above my stomach about a few feet, and she was twirling, and again I have no idea what's going on. I don't even know what this means. And so I get out of the tub and I Google it, and I like woman dancing in vision wearing purple, and it turns out it's Shakti, and I'm like, well, who's Shakti? And so she was dancing over Shiva during his Kundalini awakening, and I was just like, what the? How? Again, I had no idea what a Kundalini awakening was. I had looked it up. I didn't know what the symptoms were. I didn't know what the feelings were. And here I have this experience where I'm vividly seeing this ancient tradition that I have no background in whatsoever. I was raised Christian, so that's not even my area of expertise. And I literally experienced what these people across the world have experienced for thousands of years. So it was just mind blowing. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I had a Kundalini awakening. But I say that because during that time I saw this light council. There were 7 of them. I couldn't make out their faces or anything. They were just like, they were literally brilliantly like this. They were blinding. You couldn't see them. And they stood like that in my field of vision, eyes closed. I could see them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But again, I don't know if that's because of my life path being 7, or if there's literally 7 on this council, or if it's an arbitrary number. And hello, welcome if you're joining us. I appreciate you being here. I'm just telling a quick story about Kundalini Awakening and then the Venusian Galactic Council of Light that we just drew. But yeah, so all of that to say, it's your time to shine. It is your time to answer the call. And if you don't know what your call is, like I was talking about earlier, your call could simply be experiencing these things, so that when someone else you run into tomorrow, a week from now, a year from now, says, oh my God, you'll never believe what's happening right now. And you can say, I actually have been there and I understand what you're going through. Let me relate with you on that level. Not saying this is a, oh, I can fix you or anything like that. It's just being there, understanding on that level. It's like when someone can empathize instead of sympathize with you. It feels better when you know someone has been through it with you versus someone who just feels bad that you've been through it. If that makes sense. Okay, so we're gonna do, like I said, we're gonna do one more from this poll, and then we will do individual readings for anyone who wants them. These are just two of my Oracle decks. I got like 10 more we can pull from. These are just what I wanted to use for the collective readings. Thoth, Light Codes, Light Initiation, Great Teacher, Awakening, and Divine Magic. My first, yes, I will get to you first, Kojo. So go ahead and write your question in the comments. So Thoth, he is also from Atlantis. So we talked about the Atlanteans when we drew from the Divine Masters deck. Thoth was the High King Priestess of Atlantis. He tried to save his people, but they didn't listen, and so Atlantis fell, like in the story. He also then went to Egypt and took on the ibis-headed bird form we see here. He's also known as Hermes Trismegistus, which is Hermes thrice great. He wrote the Emerald Tablets. He did a lot of priestly work in Egypt, and he is the Egyptian god of magic. So this is a symbol that I always relate to massive synchronicities, to huge breakthroughs like the Kundalini Awakening moment, or other major downloads. I'll get into those stories later. I've had some other weird visions where I've seen, I don't see numbers usually in visions, but I saw, I can see letters normally. And so I don't know if you're familiar with, in Hebrew, in Gematria, the name of God is, Yahweh, which is YHWH, which when broken down mathematically equals the number 26. So all of my awakenings, aside from my very first one, but everyone since then has happened on, the Kundalini ones rather, has happened on a Friday the 13th, which is bizarre. Again, the first one I was telling you about, I didn't even know it was Friday the 13th when all that happened. I got it out of the tub and I'm like, oh my god, it's Friday the 13th, that's weird. So 13 times 2 is 26, Yahweh. And then I was sitting here and I had a vision where I saw these golden letters appear before me, and they were AOEA. And I'm like, what the heck does that even mean? I don't know what that means. But when you look at what that letter equals, it turns out to be 39. And so you have 13 times 2 is 26. 26 times, then 13 times 3 is 39. So you have that repeating multiple of 3 on the 13s equals those numbers. So it was just very weird to me that I had this random vision of these letters that equaled out the next numerical sequence, even though it was in letters. So it was very odd. All right, so now we'll get into the readings. And yes, you will be second there. So, Kojo, let us start with you. What, if you want to drop your question, what should I expect in the near future? Okay, perfect. Look at that, you were reading my mind right as I was asking. Okay, let's see. Do you want the Higher Self Oracle deck, or do you want Angels and Ancestors for that reading? I was kind of feeling Higher Self. I don't know what you're feeling though. And if you don't know, I can pick 2. Higher, okay, yep, that's what I was going for. And then Destiny, you can go ahead and ask your question in the comments as well, and I'll get to that after I finish this one right here. Okay. I gotta smoke cleanse it real quick to clear the energy out of it. All right. Whoop. Not bad. All right, so what should you expect in the near future? Let us see. And yes, you can ask a question about your past life as well. You can ask whatever you want to ask. If we get a fuzzy answer, we'll pull another card. All right. Michael, what can Kojo expect in the near future? Please bring through a message. Manifest. You're about to manifest something. What's on your mind? What have you been thinking about? Manifest. Let's see. 76. Imagine it. Live as if it were your reality. Allow no distractors. But most important, assume that the feeling of it, and you will merge with it, and it will merge with you so that it is no longer duality. It can become one with you if you desire. All of creation comes from the mind. The divine creates through the infinite intelligence of the mind, and we create utilizing that same process. This card indicates a need to recognize that you, too, are a creator and possess manifesting abilities. It is within you to harness the power of your creative facilities and call upon the wisdom of your imagination to manifest your desires into form. Do not worry about the size of your dreams, because everything is possible. Your higher self is asking you to get clearer on what you want to create without worrying about any possible limitations. Write down the number one thing that you wish to manifest. Consider creating a journal or a vision board to reinforce that dream in your mind. Additionally, feel how you would be able to manifest your dream, because the feeling aspect of manifestation increases its power. Keep a consistent, positive mindset throughout the manifestation process, since the joyful energy will manifest your dream more quickly. If your mindset or your energy is constantly fluctuating while manifesting, it sends mixed signals to the universe. Consistency is key. Meditate and ask your higher self to provide the right guidance to execute it. While you may have a very clear idea on what it takes to manifest, your higher self's vision is holistic and knows the best path forward to make your dream a reality. Your higher self will also be able to identify any necessary pitfalls or obstacles when it comes to manifesting your vision. You may experience occasional rerouting during this manifestation process, but trust in the direction you will be given. Take one step at a time and follow your breadcrumbs your higher self is leaving you. Surrender to divine timing during this process. Make sure to trust your gut feeling about the people and opportunities that come your way. If a door closes, accept that it is not for you. Remember to repeatedly visualize, feel, and take guided action steps, and your dream will manifest. I hope that spoke to you, because that sounds really awesome to me. I love manifesting. And it's important to keep, like I said, keep that mindset. Keep your vibration high. And that doesn't mean to say that you have to be high vibe all the time, right? I'm in not a high vibe state myself right now. I've been in a very low state. If you've seen my videos, I've been talking about being in the void, feeling these really deep, unpleasant feelings right now, right? And that's okay, because that's part of the journey. And I'm glad you found that awesome. I'm glad you liked that. I'm glad it resonated so strong. Ooh, we got a pop out. This might be for you, or it might be for, could be for Destiny. I don't know who it was, but it popped out. It's dreams. So maybe it's for both of you. I'll read it, and you can both take that. And then I'll still do an individual reading for you, Destiny, but this just popped out, and pop-outs usually mean something. So, dreams. 48. Our truest life is when we are our truest life is when we are in dreams awake. Henry David Thoreau. Have you been asking for the divine guidance and direction? Pay attention to your dreams, since the answers are coming to you via your dream state. While you sleep, your spirit returns home for sheer comfort and to check in with your guides, who will help shed light on your current circumstances and difficult situations. In your dreams, the answers will reveal themselves as symbolic clues in order to help you. Keep a journal next to your bed to make note of your dreams, and trust your higher self to help you decipher these symbolic messages. This card may also help you reflect the desire to follow your dreams. If you've been questioning whether you should take a step in the direction of your dreams, your higher self is saying yes. The time is now. Do not hold off moving forward what you want, hoping that it will somehow come forth in a later date. Act now and move forward fearlessly. You will be supported by your higher self and your spiritual team along this path. So, I can see that being for both of you, but we shall see. So, Destiny, let's see. I think you asked about past life, right? What was your past life like? Yes. So if anyone else has a question, go ahead and drop it down in the comments, and I'll get to you next. Past lives. Let's see. We're gonna do a different deck for past lives. Okay. We're going to do Angels and Ancestors by Kyle Gray for Destiny's past life reading. Oh, let me just cleanse this real quick. So I said, if you have any questions that anyone else wants answered, go ahead and drop them in the comments, and I'll get to you guys in just a moment. Just got to cleanse this real quick to clear off my energy so it doesn't read a card for me by accident, because I've done that before. I'm trying to read for other people, and they're like, that's not my card. And I'm like, oh, that was mine. All right. All right, so what was your past life like? Personally, I'm interested in going to see a one of those hypnotists that can do past life regressions. That would be interesting. I had a vision once of what I believe was a past life of mine as a priestess in Egypt. Saw myself standing along the Nile, which is odd because I never was interested in Egypt, so it wasn't like something I've been fascinated with my whole life, but who knows. All right, Michael, go ahead and join us now, and please bring through a message for Destiny so we can have some light shed on their past life. Thank you. Shield Maiden, make plans and focus. Okay. Let's see that one. I'm not certain what that could mean for past life, so let's check. I don't actually have a past life. There's a past life Oracle deck. I don't own it myself. 74. I feel like I just was on 74. The Shield Maiden is a female knight in shining armor. In many ancient traditions, women were seen as equal to men, and so joined them on their raids and fought with them on the battlefield. In this deck, the Shield Maiden brings a fiercely feminine energy, the power to be a warrior while retaining feminine sensitivity. She is ready to put her plan into action. She's ready to go into battle. Her medicine helps us move beyond any unsettled feelings when our plans start to take shape and follow through with our strategies in order to be where we want to be. Shield maidens work together at a time in times gone by to create shield walls of protection. So she also shows how to work with others in order to bring your plans to fruition. Take some time to assess what your next step will be, and as all great warriors have a plan. You are a sensitive being, and if you are not prepared for the tasks you are taking on, you could end up feeling exposed and helpless. The ancestors' guidance that is coming to you now is to remember that you have a warrior's heart and that you have it within you to be more prepared and focused than you have been recently. So have a strategy in place and let your guides support you as you move forward. So again, this isn't like this is not like a past life deck that I'm pulling from, but this card specifically, the fact that it talked about in ancient times, not a lot of these cards talk about in ancient times. So I'm feeling like you could have been this Shield Maiden, not literally this image here per se, but I think you could have been a warrior. You could have been someone who stood up for what they believed in and was very fierce about that belief and that defense and that need to protect. Are you feeling right now maybe a little unsure of yourself, or like you don't feel like you have the ability, or not ability, but like the authority to stand in that knowing, or that? And I'm speaking here, I'm not trying to project. I've always been a people pleaser, and so that's something I'm working on myself, is to put that, to assert myself. So maybe this is telling you like to embrace that past life of yours where you were assertive, where you were a force to be reckoned with. You take your medicine at 12, okay. This is cool. Are you resonating with that? Do you feel like that could be what this message is about, kind of? Any guidance about which of my gifts to work with more often at this moment? Like, yeah, I will do one reading for you on that as well. So yeah, let me just, I hope that resonated, Destiny. Destiny. If not, let me know. I can pull another one. But I do feel like this one spoke because other ones in here, like you have like Water Guardian, that wouldn't have talked about your past life. The Sun wouldn't have talked about your past life. Autumn, not talking about your past. That's what I'm saying. I feel like that one was. There are some that could be other ones, but definitely the fact that we drew that one over others, I do think that could have been one of your past lives. You could have been a fierce warrior in a past life, and some people have multiple past lives. I think I've had multiple myself. So yeah, go ahead and meditate on that one or think on that one for a little bit. But I feel like that resonated. Okay, so Intuitive Creator is asking, I think that's the next question. Yeah, Intuitive Creator, what should you focus on right now? Okay, let's see. We will pull from the Beyond Lemuria deck. I just pulled this one for myself from this deck, merging with the Divine Soul Star Chakra. That's the one above your crown chakra. So yeah, let's see what the universe wants you to work on more right now. Oh, you own this deck too? I love it. Yeah, it's a great deck. I love the artwork in it. And I really connect with this one. This one, actually, little fun fact: my channel is named after a card in this deck. I drew it the day I started this channel, Awakened Awareness. It has a big eye, which was also funny because the first thing I ever saw in meditation ever, back when I was literally, I was raised Christian, became an atheist, didn't believe in anything. When I died, I turned into dirt, that sort of thing, right? So I've never seen anything with my eyes shut, and I literally see this huge purple indigo colored eye that's just staring at me blinking. And so Awakened Awareness in this deck is that's funny, we were just talking about butterflies and transformation. That's the bottom deck color there. But Awakened Awareness is a giant eyeball. Maybe we'll draw it. So I'll look for it afterward to show you if I don't pull it out. But that is hilarious that you own this deck. All right, Michael, go ahead and please show us and bring through the message that Intuitive Creator wants to know what they should focus their time on with their abilities. Please bring through a message that will clearly guide the way. Thank you. Crystal Keys, number 22. If you were, I don't know how many people came over from, so I was on live about an hour ago, and then 20 minutes into that, a phone call came, so I had to cancel the live real quick and pull it back up. But I had said that the number 222 was popping up a lot, and here it is again, 22. Crystal Keys. All right, let's see what Crystal Keys say. Hidden wisdom codes, potent information, Lemurian seed crystals, seeing your triggers as a gift, awareness of drama creating patterns, healing the earth by looking at your inner environment, healing through awareness. Lemurian quartz crystals are special pieces of clear quartz, which is funny because I literally was holding up this and said there's a piece of Lemurian quartz in there. I don't know if you can see that. That's Lemurian quartz. That little one right there. You can see because there's little lines in the quartz. So instead of it being clear quartz, it looks like clear quartz. Another bigger piece. You can see these like striations in it. That's what makes it Lemurian quartz instead of regular quartz. And then, there's the rumor that the Lemurians buried it with information and downloads for people to get when they use the quartz. So that's Lemurian quartz. It's a special piece of clear quartz with indented ridges running across them. They are known as seed crystals because they are said to have been found individually buried in the sand and earth rather than attached to larger clusters the way that most crystals are. Aware of their oncoming destruction, the Lemurians imbued information about how to avoid a similar catastrophe on crystals and buried them. The ridges on the crystals are believed to be Lemurian inscriptions. These crystals are reappearing now as this knowledge is again relevant. This card is about deciphering wisdom codes. We may wonder how we can access information regarding our spiritual growth as we navigate our everyday reality. This wisdom comes through our inner paradoxes when we are truly present, awed, in creative flow, or a state of surrender. It may come as riddles and in the most unlikely places. Zen Buddhism taps into this using koans, paradoxical statements the mind cannot fathom, to bypass traditional understanding and allow spiritual epiphany and deeper knowledge of the soul to surface. Key wisdom codes can come with us when we are triggered. They are accessible in those moments when everything becomes more emotional, dramatic, or painful than it needs to be. Here, when the light shines in our shadow, we are graced with significant insight into the places that we can grow and evolve from. I was just talking about this slightly with the idea of that when we are given the opportunity to change our perspectives on things. So I had this really uncomfortable. Sorry to interrupt. This just came to me, so I figured I should tell it. When I was saved by Michael and I heard this voice that spoke to me and said, "You're going to die." I was driving a car on the freeway and I'd never heard anything like that before. This is literally when I went from being an atheist to back to being spiritual. Because again, how on earth did I hear this voice that warned me I was about to die? And 7 minutes later, because I had called my fiance at the time, so I had a call stamp that said at 5:13 or whatever, that I called her saying, "I just heard this voice saying I was going to die." I then kept driving. 7 minutes later, I called 911 because the car in front of me was T-boned and exploded. If I hadn't slowed down because I was warned about this whole "you're about to die" from this voice outside of my head telling me you are about to die, after feeling this super horrible, like the worst panic I'd ever felt in my life, then I hear that and then I've never seen a car crash, like watched it happen outside of a movie. I've seen them on the side of the road, obviously. I've been driving for years. Tons of. I've never witnessed one happen literally 3 feet in front of me. I saw it. I don't want to talk about the whole thing because it was very graphic, but I witnessed that right in front of me right after that happened. So that was a wake-up call. And the reason I tell you this, though, is because I was so certain. I was like, that had to have been Michael that saved me, right? But then it dawned on me, I'm like, what if it wasn't Michael? What if it was something else? Something did something, right? Something happened. But I was so set on it being one thing that I was closing my options to everything else it possibly could be. And I still think it was Michael. I very much do think that. But I'm also not attached to that. It could be something else. And that was what reminded me of it, is that you can be secure in your knowing of something, but don't close it off so much you build a wall around it and refuse to consider other things, which I was doing myself. And so that's what I was thinking about when I read that part. We can grow from these places of pain, because it was very painful to be like questioning, because it was such a pivotal point in my life. I mean, it literally went from me being an atheist to a believer. And so I was very much, I need to protect this belief, because if I don't protect this belief, then my whole belief system will collapse. But I've come to understand it's like, no, I don't need to protect it like that. It happened. I don't need to prove it happened. It just did. And I'm secure in that knowing, and that's all I need to know. But so that helped me open up my eyes to other possibilities. So we can grow and evolve from that, and it might take courage and a healthy dose of self-awareness to embrace the wisdom of those moments. It's amazing how much energy, freedom, and expansion comes from the result of deciphering these bubbles of information tailored especially for us. Sometimes insight is so perfectly constructed within a scenario that it gets right to our most tender spots for the perfect healing. These are potent codes, as all the personal power struggles and ego problems affected by the bigger picture of how the world operates. Our shadows are unresolved wisdom codes. Avoidance makes them spiral out to aid in the construction of a world we do not actually want, both individually and collectively. When we see this information as a gift that it is, we can cultivate presence and begin to see between the lines of our inner workings. Like I talked about earlier with the two paths, where one looks like it's going by the river and it's a nice easy walk, and this other one takes you up this mountain and it's so steep and it's arduous, and it's, at the end of the day, you're arriving at the same spot, and if you were to zoom out into God's eye, it's the same path. So we might not be able to see it, and we need to see between those lines to see the truth of that. The world needs as much light as possible so we do not have to repeat what happened in Lemuria. Let us allow ourselves to see the shadows as an opportunity to bring more light into our being and heal the world from those dark foundations. The divinatory meaning. Be inspired to find the wisdom hidden in those times where you feel triggered. There is so much more information in our raw and intense reactions. When we choose to be present with what is coming up and peel back the layers, great spiritual insight will unveil itself in a way tailored just for you. If we could all learn to see our triggers in the bigger picture, so much confrontation and upset would be lessened, power struggles and fear would diminish, and we would see greater compassion across the planet. Perspective and misunderstanding would shift, and the way people want to be loved would be experienced without distortion. These are the seeds for peace on earth. I mean, wow. Holy. I'm keeping this card out on my altar after this. That was powerful. I hope that resonated with you. So I know your question was not exactly about that. And yes, go ahead and ask another question, Destiny. And how old do you need to be to do this? I don't think there's an age. There's mystics that were children. I'm 36, going on 37, and I feel like I'm new to this. There's people that are older than me that feel new to this. There's people that are older than me that are, that have been doing this for so long. I don't think there's an age. It's just once you've had these experiences, you can start doing it. Anybody can do this sort of thing. So let's see. So yeah, in terms of what you should work on, I would work on being at peace with, like it said, triggers. And it doesn't need to be your biggest triggers or anything like that to start with, but like I was talking about with this, the idea of opening your eyes up to new perspectives. Like my story I just talked about, I had this one perspective. I was very set on it being the way, right? And I got upset with myself or others when they tried to question that. And it's like, as soon as I stopped doing that and started like just listening and hearing, I was able to like, well, wow, what if it was this, or what if it was that, or what if it was this? And instead of being like, oh, they're changing what I'm thinking. No, I need it to be this or that. I'm like, it could be any of these things, and that's even more awesome than it could be just this one thing. And so it took a mind and maybe to you, I'm telling you this, and you're like, well, duh, Andrew, why did you resist that? I'm like, that's what I did. I resisted it, right? So I'm telling you this because this is one of those lessons where I went through it, and I can now share my experience. I wish I had not had so much resistance to it and just accepted it much easier. And yeah, Jesus was 12 apparently. I did not know he was that young, but that is I know he was young. That is very interesting. So have you also heard about him potentially going to India to study? I thought that was interesting because there's that gap in time. I'm also very interested in the Gnostic texts, like the one that Mary Magdalene wrote, and she was like the apostle to the apostles, it was said. And so Jesus taught her more, and what his teachings to Mary were much more aligned with the sort of thing I'm talking about, where it's, you don't need to go outside of yourself, so you need to go into yourself. The answers are inside of us. We are the doorway to the divine. And I don't mean that in an egotistical way, like I, Andrew, am God. I don't mean it like that. I'm saying that we, as a human being, have access to God. You do, I do, we all do. That's what I mean by that. And that's what Jesus was trying to tell people through Mary. And then, there's, the church kind of twisting that up a little bit. So yeah, that was powerful. And yes, you can ask questions. Perception is key. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And your future what will your future be like this time? And yes, you can ask another question. Rosa, are you still in the chat? I don't see you there, so I don't know if you dipped out when I had to restart the chat. But I know you wanted to do a reading as well, so I'm not forgetting you. But I don't see you there to ask the question. If you are still there, and if anyone else has questions they want to ask, go ahead and drop them in the comments, and I will get your reading for you. I love the understanding that there is more to learn rather than just taking what we were told. Yes, right? Yes, and I was like I look back at it now and I'm just like I laughed to myself like how I was being so closed-minded when I thought I was being open-minded. I was like, oh, I'm so open-minded now, but I was being closed-minded, and I'm not even deluding myself. I'm still like that. I don't see it yet, right? But I'm well aware that as a human being, that sort of thing is bound to happen. So I'm well aware that I could be doing that again. So it's important to keep in mind that idea of ever shifting perspectives and the perceptions that we have, and being aware that as me in this body, I have my narrow perceptions that are influenced by my world experiences, what I've witnessed, what I've seen, what I've experienced, what I've done. Right? I haven't lived in other. I've visited some other countries, right? But I haven't lived in those other countries. So I have my perception of what it's like to visit there, but I can't be like, well, I've visited, so I know what it's like to live there, right? That's very closed-minded. That's not open at all. So instead, going like, I've been there, but I have no idea what it's like to live there. That's the same sort of thing we're talking about here. It's like you can have these experiences, you can know what you experienced, right? But it's always good to be like, this is how I interpreted it, this is how I felt it, this is what I believe in it to be. But at the same time, being open to the fact that maybe it is something different and not looking at it as, well, I was wrong, and then associating the wrongness with badness, just differentness. Look at it as there's many possibilities, and that should be great, right? I mean, how awesome that there's so many possibilities. I think that's better than fewer possibilities. Let's see. Hi, Cosmic Mama Bear. Good evening. I got your message. I want to do that reading. I've just been ridiculously busy, and I haven't had time to. I took a break from recording for a minute, and this is the first live stream I've done in a while. So I saw your message. I will reach out to you. I'm planning on doing a vacation soon, and when I go on the vacation, I will actually have more time, and I can probably get a reading in around then. I think in the next week, week and a half. So I appreciate that offer you had sent me. Well, God, and that's okay. Sorry, I was trying to ask of God, and then I was trying to ask, will God, and then okay, well, God come back to the more I'm. Oh, that's a very true intuitive creator, right? The more you learn, the more you realize we don't know very much. Yeah, I'm like, I feel you. I feel you. Definitely. But in a good way. It's not like the old way where I was like, oh, I feel dumb, or I feel slow, or all the negative things. Like I didn't know that, and then you beat yourself up. And now it's like, I'm in this state of awe. Like, wow, look at all this. Look at all these new things. Look at all these new perspectives. It's like there's so much. It's awesome. Oh, you're very welcome. I appreciate it. Okay, let's see. So, will God come back to life? Or do you mean like the second coming of Jesus? Because God, again, I don't want to tell you how to believe or feel or think or anything like that. This is all my perspective and my feelings on the matter. But God, source, the universe, is ever persistent, always here. He's inside of us. She's inside of us. They're inside of us. We are one with the divine. We are spirits inhabiting these vessels, and so it's not a question really of will God come back in this lifetime? I mean, maybe there'll be something profound where we have some huge revelation of I don't even know what that would look like though, right? I don't. I know some people talk about like the 5D Earth, New Earth, 5D Earth, where we're gonna transcend and all be gone to this new. I don't subscribe to that. I do believe that there is a new Earth and a 5D Earth, but that's here in the 3D. It's a combination. It's a merging of the spiritual into the physical, and by that I mean where we get to a point where it's not weird to talk about this stuff out in public with just anybody, and you don't get side-eyed like who's this loon, who's this crazy person, where we accept those things as truths. I think that's closer to that idea of merging into the 5D, when we're raising the vibration of the planet and everybody is, or more, not everybody, but more people are, because I think it's when enough people reach that state, there'll be a shift. So it's not per se like that. The clouds will part and this angelic being will descend from the sky. Could that happen? Anything could happen. I'm not saying it couldn't. I'm not even saying it's a tiny possibility. I mean, heck, it could be a huge possibility. I don't know. That's outside my lighthouse or my wheelhouse, kind of. I don't view it that way, so it's hard for me to answer that question specifically. Yeah, but if anyone else has questions, wants a reading done, feel free to drop it in the comments, or just share your thoughts. We can just chit chat. Oh, I mean, will he ever like step foot on the earth again? Like, what? So I mean, again, I don't know because I have it's I don't know. I feel like they come when they want to come. Like I haven't had a vision of Jesus before. I've felt the energy of Jesus or Yeshua. Um, I've drew him in my life path, so I feel very connected to him. And again, I was an atheist. I was like, Jesus, no thanks, right? Now I'm very much like, no, I love Jesus. I think Jesus is awesome. But the idea of him coming back in a physical form, I don't really see that. I think they come in energetic forms all the time. I think they can appear here physically whenever they want, if they wanted to. I've had archangel. So this is a weird one, right? I was doing Reiki on someone, and I was out back in my backyard doing Reiki. So I was sitting there with my eyes shut, and I was drawing Shokure and a CI symbol over them. And right as I'm in the middle of drawing the symbol again, eyes are shut. I get the feeling that I'm being watched. So I feel like someone is watching me, and I physically, we all felt that feeling, right? You're like, you literally turn around because you feel it. So I feel that, right? And I look, and the person I'm doing Reiki on, their eyes are closed, okay? But then there's a person standing right here over their shoulder. I mean, literally a person. They were wearing like this, but white, so white linens. They had short blonde hair. I mean, it was so, it creeped me out, right? I'm in my own backyard, so no stranger should walk into my property. It's fenced in everywhere. The back door to my house didn't open it, it's actually funny because it's a pretty loud door. When it opens, it squeaks, so I can clearly hear if someone opens the door. So that's why I freaked out, because I opened my eyes and there's someone standing in front of me and the door didn't open. So I literally jumped like that. I mean, there was a physical reaction. The hair on my arms stood up, and the person I blinked, and the person I'm seeing in all white, they have glowing orange eyes, like fiery glowing eyes. I was like, what the, right? And then I blink and they're there, and I blink again and they're gone. And I was just like, and the person who I'm doing Reiki on opens their eyes and says, was someone standing behind me? So then it's like a double confirmation. I didn't say anything, so I was just like, I don't know how to answer that question. I literally thought it was another person from my house that had walked out. So I was gonna be like, hey, how are you doing? And I was like, wait, that's who is this? I go inside, pull out this deck, and I literally draw Archangel Michael right then and there. Drew Archangel Michael right then and there, and it was Michael. I thought it was Michael when I saw him. I was like, I think he didn't have wings, but I was like, I think that's Archangel Michael standing in my backyard, and I draw the card. That has happened on, not seeing him like that, but that's happened on numerous occasions where I have these thoughts of him, and then I draw a card, and the card is Michael. I drew Michael sort of light, then I drew Michael, and then Michael sort of light, back to back to back to back, which was just very odd. I changed how I shuffled too, so it wasn't just, oh, you're doing the same cut, fold. I did half shuffles, quarter shuffles, cut the deck this way, that way. Very odd. It is a repeating thing that happens with me. Same thing, I had those cards drawn, and then went to the store. I then get out of my car, and I turn to my right and look, and there's this guy, again, white linens, short white hair. His eyes aren't glowing this time, but it looked just like the man in my backyard from 6 months previous. And he's waving at me like furiously like that, and I'm like, and I look at him like that, and he nods like emphatically because I'm waving at you, and I'm like, huh? And he does this, like, look at me, and so I look at him, and he's wearing all these beads like I'm wearing, all these necklaces like I'm wearing, and as soon as I look at that, I laugh and I smile at him, and he then nods like that, and then he just drives off, and then right then I realized, I'm like, oh my god, that dude just looked like Michael in my backyard. What the heck? Like, and again, I come home, draw Michael's card. So I'm just like, okay, hi Michael, thanks for waving at me in the parking lot of the grocery store. Very weird, right? Um, those situations, even I'm skeptical by nature, but I was like, I can deny them, but after a while, it gets too hard to deny, where it just keeps happening over and over and over again. With another part of the vision that made it undeniable was this one. That vision happened on April 1st of 2025, and 6 months to the day, October 1st of 2024, I had a vision of that man in white linen. Such a weird, bizarre dream. I was in, so right behind this wall, I have a closet, and so I was in this closet in my dream, looking for the garage door opener to my house. So I'm looking for it, can't find it, digging through boxes. The dream felt so real, like I was literally looking through boxes, feeling it and stuff. And then I in the dream I go, oh my god, this is it, I found it. But it looked completely different than what it should have looked like. But in the dream I was convinced I found it. So I pushed it, and as soon as I pushed it, I was outside of my house, standing on the sidewalk. Again, I'm still dreaming, but I look down the street, and about three houses down, there's what appears to be a gigantic mirror from the floor up into space that is at a 45-degree angle. And in that mirror, I can see my house. Like, so there's a mirrored image of my house. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, what am I seeing? This is so weird. And there's a guy standing where I'm standing, but in the mirror. And the guy in the mirror, he does one of these. He goes, looks at me like that, turns around, and he starts running towards the mirror. And when he reaches the mirror, I notice there's someone outside of the mirror right next to him, and he looks at me and starts running towards me, which that freaked me out. So I start to run back to my house, and in the dream I teleported back into my house, and I shut my door. And right when I shut the door, this man appears right in front of my face, and he goes, Andrew, we've been trying to talk to you. And I wake up. Now fast forward literally 6 months, half a year to the day, Michael appears in my backyard. That was very, very bizarre to me. More confirmation. The card, the 6 months precisely. It's too weird to have that exact timing. And I get lots of weird timings like that. The guardians of our earth can take on any form we can relate to. I once had a guy come to me, Pizza Hut, look at his order. He had such a commanding presence. People go, yep, exactly. It's very interesting how they show up in the weirdest ways. Like I was saying, it's just like a delivery guy who like waves at me. Opened the box, said, who made this? Manager waved me up. I got tipped $1. Nice. That's awesome. That is awesome. Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay, let's see. Oh, hi, Patriot Chick. Welcome. Oh, yeah, so, like I said, I'm not certain if they're going to step back on the Earth or anything like that, but that's kind of my take on that. And like Mama Bear said, they can come whenever they want. Jesus could come down, God could come down, Source could come down, the universe could come down and inhabit any being, become an animal. I see lots of animals, like lots of spirit animals. That's why I actually bought this deck, because I see so many spirit animals. They come to me constantly. Birds, deer. I befriended a wild seagull, and I don't mean like, it stole my food and likes to hang. I mean, the seagull will come and it'll land right next to me and sit next to me without me feeding it. It'll just sit there. One time I saw it. I pulled up my car and I went on Google Maps and measured the distance later because it was on a set of rocks, so I could measure where the rocks were. Seagulls, apparently, I looked it up because I didn't believe this, but seagulls can only see like 50 to 60 feet clearly to recognize human faces. So I don't know how this bird did this. I think it had to do with more than just being a bird, because it was 600 feet away and it saw me and flew and landed at my feet. That's bizarre. I've had deer walk out of the forest and come up to me before. Again, weird. I approached deer. They don't run from me. I just got my first feather gift last week. That is so. Were you here when I was talking about that? I was this raven feather. I was out walking. I'm so glad you got one. I was out walking, and I was actually thinking of eagles at the time because I had drawn, ironically, synchronicity. I had just drawn Skyfather, and I was like, it'd be really cool if an eagle dropped a feather for me. And as I'm thinking this, a raven flies over and drops this lovely, huge raven feather for me. So love that. And then I collected a bunch of crow feathers that I found. And then I also have blue jay feather. And then one of my little parrots. I have 2 Kaik parrots. So this is a Kaik feather. You can see the size difference, very tiny versus bigger, versus huge. All right, let's see. Just got my first together last week. Just one day I was like looking around me and I saw a man in all black, and then I blinked and he wasn't there. Yeah. Oh, you both saw people in black? That is all. I'd love to hear more about those stories. Man, I don't get to hear a lot about those. I hear them about online, and I'm a skeptical person. I'm over here talking to angels and stuff, and I'm like, I'm very skeptical, and I am. I think we should all be skeptical, but not to the point where we blind ourselves to the reality that's out there. I mean, the world is much stranger and more magical than we were taught in school. That's for sure. Yeah, I appreciate everybody sharing too. It's great. This is literally why I get on here. I love the chats. If it was just a dead chat and me pulling cards, I wouldn't do it anymore. So I appreciate you guys sharing and talking in here. It's great. I wish there was a way we could do it a little easier or something like that. If we had maybe someday I know Discord has like a live stream platform thing where you can talk. So maybe I could do that someday. I don't know. But yeah, I appreciate everybody sharing. I really do. Does anyone else have any questions? Anything they want answered? Any readings they want answered? I was thinking about doing a few more from Work Your Light for just a general reading. So we've been talking about light workers and stuff. I want to start a group on WhatsApp for sharing spiritual stories. Will this happen? I mean, it could happen. I'm not going to lie to you. I just saw like someone next to me. I totally believe you. I was in the kitchen before I did this live stream. I was making a little burrito, and I was in the kitchen making it. I kept looking because out of my peripheral, I swear there was some dude standing in my sunroom, and I'm like, kept looking, and I'm like, again, skeptical, right? But I was like, it happened so many times. I was like, I don't know. I think I might have just seen someone standing there. Like I said, the only room I actually put tar water up in is my bedroom. My bedroom is like off limits. I don't want spirits walking around, talking to me, bothering me while I'm sleeping and stuff. Other than that, there's stuff in the house. I've seen like a light being that's like 6 feet tall. It looks like a just pure white light that's like strands of light, and it'll be standing there. It's very weird. Okay, let me see what you just said. Okay, so I'm trying to read this. Daisy Jones' locker. Magnetism, electric light, browns do something else, the grays do something else, the golds do something else. Guess which ends do the fold, but you can see in your eyes are down. You're focused on the up or the right or out. You need the right angle and it appears. Interesting. That is very interesting. Thank you for sharing that. That kind of makes sense. I've seen, you said grays. I've seen grays, and I've seen a mantis. That was weird. The grays, you're not alone. We are guided. Do what you can in your area of the world to model fierce compassion. Yes, exactly. We need to be compassionate. We're here to help the Earth. That's one big thing. I was talking about earlier, the 3D, 5D, people talking about ascending, leaving the planet. We are here. We are on Earth. We need to help the Earth. We need to be here, be present, yes, be spiritual, be high vibe, but we are grounded and needing to spread that compassion here on earth and help in that way. I think is a huge thing. So thank you for saying that, Mama Bear. Really, really appreciate that message coming through. It's very rare that I hear them speak when they've incarnated physically. Like I said, when Michael was standing back, he didn't say anything. He just like smiled and then was gone. The guy that was waving at me, he just didn't talk. He just waved. Um, then I'm going to tell you the stories about the Greys and stuff. Um, the Greys, I saw them. They first came to me when I was laying down, and they were very short. So these were like, I've heard of the Greys being like 3 to 4 feet tall, but these were like 2 feet, 3 feet tall. They were very small, like tiny children, and they were running around me. My eyes were shut, but it was the weirdest thing ever. As my eyes were shut, I was laying there, and all of a sudden I could see with my eyes shut, and it was like bizarre. It's I couldn't see so I was at a party, right? I was at a house party, but I was out by myself on the patio balcony on the second floor. Everyone's inside having a party, hanging out, everything. I'm just like, I want to go meditate. It's too much in there right now. So I lay down, eyes closed. All of a sudden, I can see with my eyes closed. So I can see the chair, the plants. I can see the table. I can see the rug. I can see where the walls are. I can see everything, but I can't see the people. I can hear them. I hear them talking, but hold on one second. Okay. Yes, you can. When you go, you can keep using the chat. Someone was saying they were spamming, and I just saw that, so thank you. They've been temporarily muted. I don't have any moderators, so I have to do it myself. So I'm new to this. Sorry. So I'm seeing all this stuff with my eyes shut, right? And it's very weird because it's like I'm like, is this happening? This is very bizarre. I open my eyes and I'm like, no, I'm literally seeing what I'm seeing with my eyes shut. It's in the same spot I just saw it with my eyes shut. So I was like, okay, this is weird. And so I'm like, what's going on? And all of a sudden, out of the wall, like these little things come running out of the wall. I'm like, what on earth is going on? I haven't had any drink, haven't had any to smoke. I'm totally sober. I'm like completely sober. And I'm like, this is very bizarre. And they ran around me, kind of like oh, what's that old movie where they tie the giant down and he's laying there like this and they're all around him. I felt like that, so they didn't tie me down. They were very pleasant and nice. They were just giggling. I couldn't hear them, but they looked like they were giggling. They were like bobbing around and stuff, and then running really quickly, staring and pointing like, ooh, and then they ran back into the wall and they were gone. This lasted like 15, 20 seconds, and I was just like, what on earth was that? That was bizarre. Haven't seen those ones again. But then a couple of weeks later, I was in my backyard meditating at night. So I was laying in the grass on my yoga mat, and same thing all of a sudden happens. I can start seeing everything with my eyes shut. So I'm like, oh, this again. And sorry. I turn behind me, and again, I'm testing. Okay, eyes can see, eyes can't see, right? Now in the corner of my backyard, I see three things. They're standing like this. There's a gray, a mantis, and a gray. Now this gray and this gray are about 6.5 feet tall, very tall, bigger than me. So I'm already creeped out. I'm like, there's two tall things standing in my backyard. I don't really like that. But between them, there was a mantis. So this thing is like this thing's like 7 to 8, maybe 9 feet tall. It's it's way taller than my fence and much taller than the gray standing next to it. And they're just staring at me. I can't see its face because it's like hooded, and I can just see that it has like these arms up like this, and I'm just like super creeped out because they have no emotion. Unlike the little ones that were like giggling and being all friendly, these ones are just like staring, which is very awkward, uncomfortable. Be like being outside at night, like walking down the street or something, and you see some people on the street you're gonna walk up to, and they aren't doing anything other than like mad dogging you. Like you're like, okay, why are you paying attention to me so much? That's creepy. So I open my eyes. Obviously, I can't see them because my eyes are now open. I shut my eyes, and now they have moved about 2 feet closer to me, which is unsettling. And I was like, oh, okay. Open my eyes again. obviously still can't see them. Shut my eyes again. They've moved about 3 feet closer to me. I'm like, okay, I need you to stop because you're not talking to me. We're not having a dialogue here or anything. I need you to back up, please. And I open my eyes again. I shut them again, and now they're even closer. So now they're about like 5, 6 feet away from me. At this point, I'm literally like, okay, I need you to get the fuck out of my space because I didn't invite you here. I didn't ask for you. You're not talking to me. If you talk to me, we could talk and that'd be fine. But you're just being weird. And at that point, they left. They were gone. Which I felt torn about because on one hand I was like, whew, thank God they're gone. That was creepy. On the other hand, I'm like, I kind of wanted to interact with them. And so I said in my mind as I meditated, like, I would be willing to talk to you if you just weren't so creepy. Could you interact with me in a way that's less uh, shocking, like so disturbing? And so it's actually funny. A praying mantis, then a tiny one, like this big, landed on my window and stayed there for 18 days. It just sat there outside. I have pictures. I can upload it to the community channel later. Yep, just sat there outside my window for 18 days. Didn't leave, didn't move, just stayed there. I thought it was dead because it wasn't moving. Then I got close to it. It actually turned and looked at me and moved around a little bit. And I was like, okay, you're alive. So that was just wild. And then shortly after that happened, I'm sitting at home one day. I'm in San Diego. So if you're not familiar with us, we're down. It's like a desert place, right? So it's very hot. It was the middle of summer, so it was like 85, maybe 90 that day. And I love going out and hiking. I don't love hiking when it's that hot. I don't love being outside when it's that hot. So I'm sitting here, and all of a sudden I have this overwhelming urge, and I mean like to the point where I actually acted on it, to go hiking. The whole time I am driving to the trailhead, I am literally arguing that why? Why are we driving to the trail? Why are you driving to the trail? Why are you driving there? It's hot. You don't want to walk in this. You're going to sweat your ass off. It's too sunny. Didn't matter. I kept going. Get to the parking lot. I'm like, why am I doing this? I don't know. Get out of the car. Start walking on the trail. Literally tell myself I don't even want to be here, which was bizarre to me because I normally, as a human with agency, you say, I don't want to do this. And as an adult, you go, then I'm not going to do this. And you turn around and you leave, right? No, for some reason, I kept going. And I'm walking down the trail and I'm about 200 feet down the trail and I just stop. And I look down. And if this is my foot, my shoe, right here is a praying mantis, just sitting right there. I'm like, oh, hi, friend. So I pick it up, I put it on a bush, and suddenly I'm like, I don't need to be here anymore. So I get back in my car and go home. So I was like, okay, as weird as that sounds, I'm pretty sure that thing wanted me to come there and pick it up out of the trail, either to prove a point or to move it because it needed to be moved. I don't know which. But ever since then, I've had these mantis things happen, right? I haven't had it in a while, but has anyone heard that clicking? Okay, yeah, well, we'll see you soon. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. And for everyone, I really do appreciate that. I'm going to read the chat in just a second so I can catch up with what everyone was saying after this. But if you haven't seen the trailer for Steven Spielberg's Disclosure Day, you should watch it. Because when the news anchor starts speaking and she starts clicking and making these insect sounds, that is the exact sound I heard when I had interactions with these mantises. Very weird watching that trailer and being like, that's the exact sound. I've heard other people say that too. So it's very weird. And there's also like Easter eggs in there. Apparently, if you listen to a primer tape and then listen to the trailer, you can hear her say through the clicking, "Do not be afraid." There's a type of some sort of what is it, like subliminal thing you can edit in there, and it's actually a thing. I was watching a video how they explained how they put it in there, but I thought that was interesting too because in the Bible, when every angel appears before someone, the first thing they say is "Do not be afraid," because yes, angels are very. And Michael wasn't creepy, but the eye I've seen, the seraphim, huge eye with rings, with eyes floating around it. I mean, it's disturbing as hell looking. Once I realize it's an angel, it's not disturbing. But when you first see it, you're like, what am I looking at? What do you want with me? All right, checking the chat real quick. Sorry about that. Okay. Our little group has a tendency to lift our consciousness these evenings. No need to fear when our perception is widened. Circulate energy around yourself. Yes, absolutely. And I'm not there yet where I'm going to do modding and stuff. I have moderators and stuff like that, but I already have some ideas in mind for people that I would think would be good for that if we get to that point. So I appreciate your help in the chat a bunch. Um, oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. We think of things as out there, separate, not all in one place, like oil and water, angel and violet, color and light, solid and light, and gas. You need more of the solid and liquid and gas. What are those? Texture, structure, but not molecular. Sponge versus cotton, mental versus stone. Just physical. Yes. Mm-hmm. So now you're curious. I so understand this. I'll be blind. Last week, an older gentleman came to my door and asked for a drink of water. He drank it and left. Something about him seemed different. I was truly. Yes. Um. Nope. I was just catching up on the chat. You're good. I was just reading everything everyone said, so I appreciate all of your comments. Like I love this chat we're having here. This is great. Um, and I appreciate wishing for more people to join. I appreciate that. If the more people we have liking the video and sharing it, the better the algorithm helps spread it. Not to jump on the algorithm thing for a second, but it's a real thing. It sucks. I was getting a lot more views on my shorts earlier in the year, last year, and then it just tanked. So I don't know what's going on, but yeah, any boost we can get to the likes will help spread the word that this is actually good, because they've changed how their algorithm functions this year, and it's hurting small creators. But like I told myself, I said, if I can reach 5 people that we have a real meaningful dialogue with, who cares if it's not 5,000? This is just as good to me. So I'm appreciative of all you being here. It's not about the size; it's about the depth of the connection and what we're talking about. And I think we're having really good conversations here. Um, the decks and stuff, I got all of these off Amazon. You can find them if you go to different crystal shops, though. I've seen lots of like custom ones, which are really interesting. Some of the people that own the shops will make their own, or they'll know local artists who have made them. So I encourage you not only to obviously check Amazon for these ones like by Kyle Gray, but go to your local stores and see if they have different oracle card readings there. Um, I know when I was in Eugene, Oregon, I forget the name of the store. It was so cool. That's where I got this here. This is Libyan glass. This is from a meteorite that was like 125,000 years old. It crashed in the deserts of Libya. Um, so when I got that at that store, but they had cards there that were really cool. I'd never seen the oracle cards that some of them had, but my budget was limited at the time, and I got this instead of the cards because I have a lot of oracle cards. But yeah, so you can get them there, or you can get them in person, stuff like that. And a Patriot Chick, regarding the person coming to your door, that's interesting. Like Mama Bear said, a check-in with hospitality. That's the vibe I got as well. And some things are random, some things are just like Daisy said, liars and accidents happen, right? But that does seem like something to me. Okay, yep, yep. Because now it reminded me of a story. I'm gonna comment on yours, but what it reminded me of was I was at the store, and there was a homeless man, and he was asking. He wasn't asking people for money. He wasn't asking people for anything outrageous. He literally, because I saw him ask someone else, and he got blown off by them. What he said was, in his hands, he had the tiniest individual package of like lunch meat you can find. I didn't know they sold it. It was like this much, and then he had like this little thing of pita bread, like this big, and an apple. All the food was like this big in his hands. It couldn't have been like more than $5 worth of food. And he didn't ask, "Can I get $5? Can I get that?" He said, he asked that, "Sir, could you buy this for me so I could eat today, please? I'm sorry to ask you. I know." And he was like apologizing profusely, like, "I feel horrible asking. I'm so hungry. So I just walked over to the guy, and I gave him a 20, and he's like, "No, no, 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 I don't want your money. I just want to eat." I said, "Buy your food and buy something else because you deserve that." And he was so taken aback by it. And when I was speaking to him, he was just he was telling me all these things, and then he was saying all these blessings to me all of a sudden. I looked, and he had the numbers 222 tattooed on his face, which is ironic because literally when we started this video, I was talking about the numbers 222. We drew the crystal keys card, which is 22. And yeah, that was just wild because it was this like a check-in with generosity or hospitality. And the weirdest part of this whole thing, which I didn't even realize till after I had left the store, was I turned to my friend and I said, I was like, I think that guy was an angel or something. That was cool. And he said, what did he say to you? I was like, did you were standing right next to you? You didn't hear what he said? He said, I heard him, but I didn't understand him. He wasn't speaking English. I was like, what are you talking about? He was speaking English. I just spoke English back to him. I don't speak other languages. I can understand like a little bit of Spanish, a little bit of German. I can say a couple words. I'm not fluent, right? There's no way I spoke some foreign language to somebody. Yet my friend was saying no, he wasn't speaking English. I don't know what he was saying, but I couldn't understand a word of it. Yeah, I understood everything. So I was just like, what? So yeah, I mean, weird stuff happens. Yeah, small groups are the best to start with. We can set the standard for conduct and clarity of the message. I completely agree. Daisy said, so many do things hoping for a response, and then we get the response you wanted, even if it isn't what they, and even if it wasn't what they were going to say, and then you blame the one who gave the response. Control your Adams and Eves, especially when testing, unless you want to be tricked. That's so interesting you say that. Someone literally was just talking to me about Adam and Eve, and using it like that, like a metaphor. Should do more of it. That's what Indians deserve, and in this economy. But also, why not just change the? I may agree. So many of us have come knocking doors, not realizing people aren't aware of things they tested and restricted. See, yeah, no, I mean definitely. But I just think it's beautiful to connect like that and help other people, um, and especially like that situation like Patriot said where someone shows up and it's that chance like are you gonna help, are you gonna do it, are you gonna do the right thing, or are you gonna blow them off like Jesus said, you'll deny me 3 times, um, and I see us here not doing any denying, we're helping, um, like the woman who you have to excuse me again, I was raised Christian, I don't remember the Bible too well, I haven't read it religiously, but there's the story of the woman who washes Jesus' feet, and everyone's like, why are you letting her do that? And the whole thing was Jesus was just being like, she sees what's going on here. It was this real moment instead of this fake um, piety or doing it for what do people say now? Like doing it for the street credit or doing it for the clout. Like, no, she was being real, which is what we're called to do: be real, be humble, be authentic, and we our society now has become so cold, and there's tons of people that are waking up or are already awake, and I don't mean like wake up sheeple, that sort of thing. I just mean um, they're becoming aware of their power, their ability to influence and affect change through small actions, um, and that's how I think we can change the world, through individualized small actions here with one another, and those around us. Yes. There you go. Thank you. I appreciate that. Again, I apologize. I haven't read the Bible in a very, very long time, but I do think there is a lot of good lessons in there. Um, and I don't know if you were in the chat when I started talking about it, Mama Bear, but I was saying the Gospel of Mary. That's the word I was looking for. Gospel of Mary. No, I am war. I am the last one from there. I just chose peace. I did not know what went there. Interesting. Where was there that you speak of? And as you answer that, I'm going to do another. Oh, Bible prophecies. Oh, thank you so much, and thank you for being here, and thank you for existence as well. Have a great night, Intuitive Creator. I hope to see you again. All right, I'm going to do one. Well, I'll do a couple pulls from this for another collective reading real quick, and then I'm probably going to hop off unless we get another conversation going. If someone has something they want to share or talk about, I'm down to chat. But after that, I'm gonna hop off here for a little bit. Oh yeah. Yes. Michael, go ahead and bring forward when you are ready a message for the collective here. Thank you. Yeah. Yep. Soul Family. This is funny because this is literally the card I saw as I was shuffling the deck. I saw it flip through a couple times, and I was like, ooh, that's the card, and sure it was. Call in your tribe. You don't have to do it alone, and we are not doing it alone. We are a soul family right here. We are a tribe. We are doing it, and I absolutely love the symbolism of the spiritual beings of the whales and the dolphins. And then we have this mirror image here, so it's like we are seeing one another in ourselves when you look into the mirror. So, you know, the whole idea of us as a soul family, what we put out, what our internal state is, will be reflected out into the real world. So when we hold those frequencies in ourselves, we can then have them, be experienced in the 3D, and that's what that mirroring here is, I believe. And like, I believe you actually said this in the chat earlier, Mama Bear. You said, "Remember that we're not alone," and that's exactly what this card is saying. You don't have to do it alone. So I mean, that is seriously a powerful card to pull. Get grounded. Empaths, highly sensitives, connect with nature. I was called to do this today. I went out into the forest, went on a short little walk, took my socks and shoes off and put my feet in the river. Just sat there grounding and connecting with nature. I highly recommend that. Especially if you're an empath or a highly sensitive person. I do not want them to come through. This place is too evolutionary, too light. Who do you not want to come through? Oh, the other biblical characters. The Great Gathering. It is all coming together. Intuitive hits. Soul Tribe. I mean, what more do we need to hear? Talking about soul tribes. I mean, what are the odds of back-to-back soul tribe cards? That's wild. And it is all coming together. So, with that, people are more aligned with my like. What do you mean by that? Oh, they're more aligned with war? Yeah, there's a lot of alignment with war and bad things right now. Yep. Sisterhood of the Rose, beauty and devotion, priestess, mystic, and teacher. This card, well, doesn't, I don't know if maybe the guidebook does. It doesn't say it on here, but literally I instantly thought of Mary Magdalene. Solar glow meditations, did the dowsing rods with Poseidon, asked dolphin and whale questions. I would love to talk to a whale or a dolphin. That is like bucket list. I saw a little documentary. It was talking about these divers. They were off the coast. I don't remember which coast they were on, but they basically found I think it was a juvenile blue whale that was caught in a net and it was stuck. and it had netting all over it. And so the divers dove into the ocean. They started cutting the net off of it and everything. But as they got near the end of it, this one uh, line was stuck under its flipper, and they couldn't get it off. And so the guy was struggling so hard. He didn't want to cut the whale, but he eventually says, like, he put his hand on it, and he, like, in his mind told the whale, "I'm so sorry. I might accidentally cut you because I have to get this off, or you're gonna drown." Because the whale couldn't surface because it was pinned by the weight of the rope. And so he goes and he cuts it, and he accidentally nicked the whale, and he said he felt terrible. But as soon as he did it, the whale broke free. It escaped, and they all celebrated. They were so happy. They swam back to their boat, and they were standing on the boat celebrating. We saved the whale's life, everyone. We're all happy, right? And then all of a sudden, this whale, it breaks the surface of the water vertically. So it comes up like this, and its eye is right here. And so it comes up with its eye, and it goes to the boat, and it comes up, and it goes to each person one by one, pops up, and it looks in their eye. And so they said the eye was the size of a plate. It was like this big. And it would come up right to their face, and it would stare at them, and it would hold the gaze, making eye contact with each human, and it would go down the line to the next, and the next, and the next, till it did that to everybody that was standing on the side of the boat. And as soon as it was done, it flipped around and went under, and it was gone. And so I'm just like, the level of intelligence that whale had was just like so deep. It was like talking to these people, like thanking them. You saved my life, and I understand this. Like it's incredible how intelligent they are. So that's why, I mean, it would be incredible to be able to speak with a whale. Okay, so what do you mean? You said we don't understand what. Are you talking about what I had said before that? Could you clarify? I don't remember what I was talking about exactly when you said that. Oh, Mama Bear, the solar glow. Oh, okay. I'm gonna check that out actually. Sorry, just grabbing a pen. I have not heard of that person. I want to check that out. Solar glow. Appreciate that. I'm going to check that out after this. Oh my goodness. Just dropping bowls left and right. Okay. Well, I understand what they're saying. They were just talking about another YouTuber had done a video. They were doing dowsing rods, which are those metal rods, that like turn like this. And so I've seen people ask questions. They go like yes or no, depending on how the rods are moving. So they were just doing what I'm doing, kind of. Instead of oracle cards, they're using dowsing rods to get questions from Poseidon. I've seen channelers do that with someone was channeling Source, and they were asking yes and no questions for Source, channeling other people. So yeah, I've heard of that before. That's interesting. Yeah, I love singing bowls too. Not when I drop them. This one's my favorite. My mom got me this one. It's a handmade. Like you can see, it's actually been like hand beaten. It's from Nepal. So this one's really cool. I don't know where I put my mallet on here. No, I know. Yeah, I know. Yes, absolutely. But yeah, all right. But I really appreciate you all being here. I'm gonna keep doing the live streams. I plan on doing more again here soon. Sorry, there was a little bit of a break in them. But I'll get back to doing those. And I appreciate everyone being here. So, if you like singles, try bounce. All right, I'll check that one out too. All right, wrote that down too. I'm gonna check that out. I'm gonna check both of those out. And again, I appreciate you all being here. It means a lot to me. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the subs. Thank you for all the conversations and the chats and the stories and all of the new perspectives that we all gained today. Um, I mean, that alone is awesome, right? We got so many new ideas bounced off one another. So I really love that. Um, and yes, thank you for the great chats. Thank you for being here, and I hope to see you all at the next one. So have a great day. Sending you all blessings. I love you all, and have a wonderful rest of your evening. Goodbye.